So I thought today we would start off with a meditation. A meditation designed to expose how it feels to interrupt conditioning, how it feels to interrupt thinking, how it feels to actually experience the spacious joy of being a host to the process of awareness and attention in awareness. So get comfortable. Okay. So let us take a moment to remember why we are here, wherever here is for each of us, why we choose to practice, and what our practice is about. So we take our seat with dignity. What does that mean? It's the dignity of allowing time to devote to being aware of our awareness, paying attention to where our attention is abiding, and then choosing to offer and to interrupt the thoughts, not by pushing them away, certainly not by following after them, but simply becoming aware of thoughts as they arise, and simultaneously relaxing so we can feel thought arising in the space of our open awareness. So let us begin by relaxing and resting in the natural openness and relaxation of the field of awareness we call our body. So simply become aware of your pelvis touching your cushion. And as you place attention gently in the pelvic floor, your sit bones, you experience sensations spontaneously arising as you place attention. Doesn't matter what the sensations are, but see if you could relax enough so that predominant sensations arise in the space of your awareness. And you are attentive to them while remaining spacious, relaxed, and open, so you can feel the changing quality of the sensations as they come, display, and go. Now, because your attention is down deep into your body, you will probably become aware of the movement of breath as you sit on the cushion. So, in the space of your awareness, simply allow attention on changing sensation in the pelvis and the movement of air, the movement of your breath. And the commitment for this time together in meditation is simply to just do this. Just this. Aware of sensations in the lower body as we are sitting on the cushion, and the movement of breath. So when we sit, some of us sit with turbulent thoughts. Some of us sit with dullness. Some of us sit with all changing conditions. And learn how to open and be the host of anything and anything and anything that may arise momentarily in the space of awareness. With a small part of attention, feeling the movement of breath in the space of awareness. Just this, being host, spacious, open, willing host. Thoughts are not a problem if we remain spaciously hosting them, becoming aware of them as they arise. And then with our out breath, simply interrupt them by offering them into the nowness, the here-ness, the openness of this moment, this awareness, this presence. Whatever we are holding as we exhale, offer them into the space around you. And feeling this offering, this interruption of thought, as another sensation, an energetic expression of the vital life force in the body and mind. Don't give up your lower body sensation or attention to the movement of breathing or the vigilance of hosting whatever will come. Can you feel freedom as you offer thought into the space around you? Just for a few moments, an open awareness, free of thought. Awareness remains. Knowing remains. Openness, spaciousness, clarity, relaxation, allowing the flow of appearances in the unchanging, spacious opening of your presence, sacred presence of awareness itself, as the always awareness of any experience arising in awareness. Nothing to do here, simply to notice, to let be, without leaving the space of open awareness as host, unchanging host of any phenomena of the body, sensation, or the thought, cognition, that will spontaneously arise in the space of awareness. Can you feel the vitality of this? The brilliance of this willingness to be presence, to be nowness, here-ness, spaciousness, willingness to allow the divine teacher to deliver this moment, however and whatever it may be. Our inner teacher is love itself, capacity for learning itself, the precious opportunity of any and every moment to reveal the host, the willing, open, sacred presence of awareness itself. As a loving opportunity for gentleness, kindness, with whatever difficulty of reaction to phenomena may also arise. Breathe out into the space around you and offer that along with all else. From source through source. Spacious, kindness directly, immediately towards whatever we are experiencing, first and foremost. Feel its way without clinging to it or reacting to it with aversion. Which means we can feel aversion and offer that into the space around us. Wonderful. So, does anyone want to comment, report, or question anything related to the meditation we just did?
Thank you. That was a beautiful meditation. And I've been working with this word abiding. And when you said to abide and to rest, that was nice. I guess in my head, I've always thought of abiding as long lasting, always there. And somehow that idea of just like resting there, knowing that it's always there in one sense, but resting there is what I think that you were bringing out. It's an interesting word for me, abiding.
Good, a wonderful question. So, our attachment to appearances, and not to any particular appearance, but to all the phenomena, be it on a bodily sensation, thoughts, outer world, whatever is showing itself to us, is able to do so because the abiding nature, the true abiding nature of each and every one of us who is conscious, alive, here, now, is its capacity to be the host, be the space, be the no thing. So the momentary, temporary appearance or thingness, the apparent thingness, can move through. But whatever does appear has the nature of changing. Would you agree with that, Laura?
Totally.
And it is changing either grossly, or if we're sitting more quietly and observing more quietly, less distracted by to-do list. Our only to-do is to rest here now and become aware of our awareness. So because of that, our attention might gather insight into the moment by moment, moment by moment, changingness of any and everything that arises in the abiding openness, the abiding awareness, the no thing of knowing itself. And so when there's no thing that attention grabs hold of and doesn't leave, we remained resting here and now. And where are we resting? Where are we abiding? And by we, I mean attention. So where is attention abiding? It is not ignoring that spacious hosting of any appearance. So it is resting in no thingness, which has the quality of openness, willingness, gentleness, tenderness. And yet it is not a thing. So we're becoming familiar with what we might say, Laura, is the background of our experience. The spaciousness in which caused and conditioned events will happen.
Thank you. That word spaciousness helped me out. And I guess part of me was thinking the abiding is whatever the recognition is that it's a precious life that we have. But I think I think that was adding more than what was needed. I think abiding in the spaciousness, openness is what I'm hearing.
Yes, and knowing that it's a precious life is your exposure to Dharma, your exposure to teachings that are essentially reminding you of how precious what we take for granted is. You have power. Each have power to place our attention either in trivial things, in things we take to be so important, in things we try to control, in things we try to manipulate and have it go our way. What way is that? Getting what we want, not getting what we don't want. So this normal conditioned way of being is interrupted by a more sacred agenda. What does it mean to be alive in this and every moment? What does it mean to feel like whatever's happening now? What does it mean to have infinite potential, having a body and a mind to respond rather than react out of, you might say, Dr. Wolf used to say, unexamined assumptions about conditioning that just goes on like a machine, like a mechanical event. What does it feel like to interrupt habit, karma, and conditioning, and to abide in the spacious awareness of whatever arises? Yeah, so you're doing it all. You're being the Dharma teachings, you're remembering, and you're applying them.
And you gave a beautiful definition. Thank you for helping me out on that one. I've been struggling with that for a little bit. Thank you, thank you. That's good. I also, you know what? I think sometimes the more that you practice, the more you have kind of weirdo questions that come up and stuff.
And those are really good. And let me just stop you for a moment there. It's those weirdo questions that arise in the space of your awareness while you're paying attention that you can make space for to just spontaneously reveal insights to you. And you can offer those practice questions to the Sangha as you come on Sunday and you're all together or you're in one of the classes, you offer your practice questions because they might benefit everyone else. If you're doing the practice and questions arise out of doing the practice, you should be very generous about sharing those. Okay, keep going.
Oh, okay. So just one more little thing. For a long time, it seemed like to be in that sense of spaciousness is hard work because you had to pay attention all the time instead of this whole idea of relaxing. And a long time ago, I went to see an astrologer, and she said, you know, if you practice relaxing every day, you will be surprised by the results in the end, but you're not going to do it. And now I'm learning how that it's exactly the right thing to do is learn to relax. So
That's
thank
really
you
good,
again.
Laura. Yeah. So, one thing about that, any advice somebody gives you is just something that you interpret for yourself and you do it or not do it, right? So, you practicing relaxing is going to reveal lots of things about how you are moment by moment, right? Has one of the things you've noticed addiction to doing and thinking?
Not getting caught up in a story when things that I don't want to look at occur. When aversions occur, I'd
Uh-huh.
rather make up a story than actually feel what's going on and being open to the situation. That's what the best thing for me that relaxation has done.
And when you have seen that, how how do you imagine being open to that moment's experience versus not wanting to think about it? How are you making a distinction there?
When I notice those thoughts coming up, as soon as I notice them, they tend to disappear. And I guess the space opens up. And I see how the aversion relates to something that I want to have control over.
Very good, very good. So
So
wait, let's go slow here because you just brought something up that's important. When you offer the thought or not follow the thought or interrupt the thought, however you want to name it, but I think we all know what we're talking about. For me, that's an offering. It's attention, recognizing thought has arisen. It has the quality of, oh, I don't like this, or oh, I want this. So there's either grasping or aversion there, but attention became aware of that. And then you said, I let the thought or the story go. To me, that's offering, consciously offering, interrupting conditioned thinking. I let it go, an openness. You said they opened up, space opened up. That's what you said, space opened up. That is what relaxation is.
I'm excited. Thank you. That's good. I love that.
There's
Because
no other.
sometimes you do stuff, but you don't know what I'm going to say the label is. You know, you kind of bypass kind of some of the delightfulness of being alive.
Amen, sister. That's a good thing to notice. Don't, hey, don't miss it before you're gone. Very good. Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah. So relaxation is the capacity to remain open, to remain spaciously in the true nature of who you are, of what we are, each and every one of us. Whether we're a little lizard doing its morning exercises, push ups, or a bee flying by and picking up a scent of a flower and zooming right into it for its morning meal, whatever it is that is arising in awareness, the more relaxed we are, the more we can notice, experience, enjoy, feel our reaction or response to the appearances. And that, by the way, is the most crucial aspect of practice. Remaining spacious, relaxed, so we can see what we are habitually doing, reacting to. We actually are taking our own spacious awareness as the laboratory to the universe of possibility. How are we acting? How does it feel to be here? How does it feel to be me, here and now, with this experience? Now, when we ask that question, you are going to have revelation after revelation. And none of it needs to be in the form of a thought. It's impossible for that to be answered by a thought. But it is going to be a flow, a constant flow of experience in the space of your open hosting awareness. So you are learning nonstop. The precious opportunity for spiritual practice is simply to be aware. Ken, you had your hand up. Did you take it? Let's see. Is it still
Yeah,
up?
I'm here.
Oh, good. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, thank you for stepping up, Andrea. And Joel, I don't know what's going on with you, but I hope you get over it soon. So and I'm thinking about you. But anyway, um, I found this meditation to be particularly useful and relaxing and insightful and whatever. But as you were talking, I just gradually felt my usual sense of self just kind of evaporating, just kind of bit by bit and bit by bit. And I think the idea of the host, and just an idea, just an expression, but the idea of that is the was particularly penetrating to me for some. Maybe I've heard that expression before in terms of meditation and relaxation and all that, but it didn't penetrate until now. So I just found that really very good. So I was envisioning hosting everything as kind of a vessel, except it doesn't stay. It's a vessel with holes in it. It's kind of like a strainer or my body that takes in food and energy, and it leaves its food and water, and it leaves its energy behind and then moves on. And so uh, that all kind of fits together. It all suggests to me all the things we've learned about choiceless awareness or Dzogchen meditation. I I'm not choosing this, and
Oh, well, let's stop a moment because now there's lots of ideas coming up here. So uh, let's back up a bit and go back to your experience of host. Your experience of host as a direct experience. So you're appreciating that and commenting on it. So I just want to bring you back to that before we get extrapolating into so many ideas that you could juxtapose with lots of
yeah,
other
yeah,
things you've
yeah.
heard. Okay, so now let's go back to your direct experience through this meditation of hosting. Want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, as soon as I talk about it, it kind of goes away. I mean, it becomes
Okay, so now
mhm.
let's try something. Actually, all of us, let's try something. There are a couple of metaphors that come up again and again through mystics about the no thingness of awareness itself. Yet, because of awareness itself, all things can momentarily appear and disappear, right? Okay, so on that level, the host is nothing but space itself, the space for occurrences of seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, and thinking to momentarily flow through. So are we all together here?
Yeah, in terms of the witness, even witnessing is not really the right term as far as I was concerned, because it puts me as a witness.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
that's why in most of the teachings that I personally have resonated with, have been exposed to, have been in the presence of teachers with, is this non-dual sense of awareness itself that is so open and relaxed that it can perceive the arising of experience in the space of awareness itself. But here's the metaphor. An ocean is used as a metaphor, as a host, a metaphor for being inconceivable in its endlessness. So an ocean is not a lake. You don't see an end to it. It is just a vast body of water element, right? So you can conceive it. So it's inconceivable. But you are aware of the movement of waves. And those waves are like our experiences that come and go and move through this inconceivable ocean. How can we experience that the inconceivable infinite host of the waves, the ocean itself, and the waves of momentary experience are not different? They're made of the same waterness.
Right.
How can we experience that? How can we experience that as a non-dual display? We have to be relaxed enough in the openness, in the inconceivableness, which simply means thought-free moment experience,
Mhm.
which means thoughts may arise, but if we don't cling to them as I, me, or my thought, and let them dissolve back into the oceanic space of nowness, then our experience and awareness itself are a unity, a non-dual presence that gives us the capacity to be with whatever our experience is. So that's the one metaphor of ocean, which is non-dual, wave and ocean. Then there's another metaphor which uses the element of space. So that was the element of water. The element of space is the vast sky. When we look at the sky, do we have a conceivable end to it? No, we can have thoughts about the universe. And Neil Tyson and astrophysicists and all these things. You know, we can have thoughts, but they're just passing. What is our direct experience of the sky? It is inconceivable. And we experience clouds moving through the sky. We experience wind moving through the sky, rain, storms, haze, fire from snow, fire, smoke. all kinds of things appear in the sky. While they are appearing, where are they? They're sky itself, but they're different conditions. So that's another opportunity to experience. And I love, almost all my insights come about through nature. I spend a lot of time in the wilderness. And if I have been hiking and I'm tired and I drink water and I feel the water coming down my throat right into my belly, and then I lay back on a rock and I allow my spine to snap, snap, snap back into alignment. And I look up at the sky and I'm so relaxed. I can experience being sky and being clouds moving through sky indivisibly. Not if I'm thinking about it, but if I am thought free. So can you relate to that, Ken?
I do. Yes, I can relate to that. Yeah.
Then believe it or not, you could keep practicing that. Not having it be thought, no thought, awareness, no thoughts, no sensation. No, all of it. Allow all of it to be happening in the space of awareness itself. Because awareness itself is the host. But there is a difference between the mind of awareness and the aware, like if you, one of the things we have done in the past, and when I say we, just different ways of classes and exercises, is go out in the external world space, or you can actually do it in your room. You don't have to go outside. In your room. Are you aware of the space in your room? Can you see that space?
I have a lot of past conditioning about space because
Right. No. Those are thoughts. What is your direct experience when I say to you, can you be aware of the space in your room?
I am the space. There's I could project what qualities into the space, but that's just projection. And where's the dividing line? Where is the
Okay, so because of the space, you can have that thought and know that's just a thought of conditioning. And so it's impermanent, right? And when
right?
it's gone, what's left, Ken?
Nothing, everything.
Are you still aware? Is awareness still there?
Uh, it can go away.
What can go away?
Awareness can go away because I start to do things and plan things and see things.
Okay, so how could awareness have gone if you know you're doing things and seeing things?
Well, the awareness is aware is aware, and so that's where. How can I? Laura was talking
So,
about hiding, and that's kind of
okay, so as awareness reveals the power of attention to take you away from the spaciousness, which is a part of your moment,
right.
that's an insight into the presence of an openness or a spaciousness that is hosting or allowing any and everything you could possibly think, feel, taste, touch, or smell to be there. The thing is, we get so addicted to activity, movement, something to see, something to taste, something to think about, that we keep ignoring the spaciousness in which all and any experience can happen, momentarily changing. So we simply then, when you say, look for the space in the room, look for the space in which that tree appears and that cloud appears and that thing appears and that anger appears and that irritation appears and that rage appears and that desire appears. All these occurrences, when I don't give up the spacious presence in which they are arising, displaying, changing, morphing into some other experience, when I remain at home in the openness, in the sacred presence of infinite host, infinite spacious awareness, life feels different.
Thank you.
It's more inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
So does anyone want to ask anything or inquire?
When you mentioned being out in nature and leaning back against a rock and allowing yourself to feel the invisibility of the cloud versus the sky, it made me think about the book I read called Earthing, and how we're just sort of unaware of the fact that the earth itself is kind of like that awareness, that openness that embraces all of this life that we have. And I
So
wondered if you would,
let's just go back a moment. You said invisibility. It's indivisibility. They're
yeah,
not, right. Okay. So just so
yes,
people can follow the indivisibility. So say it again, Doug, from your heart, because you were.
yeah. I've had the experience of laying against a rock and
Yes.
having a lot of my turmoil disappear and
Yes.
sort of dissipate right into the earth. And so it brought up the question of, and I wanted you to speak to the idea of earthing, and tell me what your thoughts are about. And apparently, there's a good deal of science behind this as well.
Right. Well, okay. So the science and the ideas about it is one thing. What you're asking me is my own experience, which is another thing. And what you're presenting is your experience, which is your direct experience. So I want to invite you to share a little more, to see if you could, in relaxed, spacious knowing, your awareness itself, can you speak words about your experience?
I can relate my memory of my experience, which is that when I was in medical school, there'd be times when I'd have a great deal of anxiety and concern. It was rather a pressured environment, and I was reading that if I would go in nature and find a boulder and kind of basically sit with my back against the rock, that it would dissolve, if you will, the anxiety. And that sounded a lot better to me than taking a Xanax. And so my personal experience is that I tried that, and I was a little bit shocked to find out that it actually did dissolve my anxiety. And I think I did a lot more rock sitting back in those days than I do these days, but it worked for me.
And what is it that actually worked? Let's look at that. So, what you did was you allowed the anxiety, which is nothing other than thoughts with its concomitant reactive energies, right? Let's back up and just remind each and every one of us that it's impossible to have a thought without there being an energy connected to it. Every thought produces an experience of a sensation in the body, whether we are aware of it or not. And that's the realm in which body mind are not separate. They are an indivisible process of life force, so to speak. Okay, so let's just remind all of us that the anxiety is often a product of not being grounded in the sensual experience of a moment. It's ignoring it and just getting all caught up in the entanglement of the thinking process that goes on without allowing energy to flow and be known in our immediate and direct sensation. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
Okay. So in that moment where you sat on the rock, what was the most predominant activity going on there?
I think the sensation of the rock against my back.
There
And
you go. Simply stated, that's just the beginning of your experience that you could probably, now talk more and more about. But you pinned it down. You went into the immediate direct experience of body mind dancing together.
yeah, it brings up, kind of an intellectual question for me, because in studying or reading this book, Earthing, it talks about the fact that a lot of us, especially as we age, have a good deal of inflammation and perhaps pain sensations due to inflammation. And that because in the last 80, 100 years, we've been sort of divorced from earthing, which means that our rubber soles insulate
Yes,
our
I'm with
bodies
you.
from
I'm
the
with you on
ground.
that. I studied earthing. And I felt the truth of it. You know why? Because I walk barefoot on the beach when I'm on the coast. I walk barefoot on the ocean. And I feel different doing that. I know there are things going on, but I have to just stop you here. Please don't take offense with it. But that is just an idea about something. Not that I disagree with it, Doug, because I am with you. I have studied that. I've experienced directly. And I also think that's a good mental possibility of a fact related to allowing ourselves to experience not wearing shoes, being out in nature, being in a interactive activity, which we used to do before we lived in cities. We were doing that constantly. So that's fine. However, that's a theory. Not that I disagree with it. I actually believe it's true, but that just is a theory. And that's a theory occurring in the direct experience of moment to moment awareness with your direct experience of sensation in the body. By the way, when we bring our attention down to our cushion and experience our pelvis sitting on the cushion, that is an experience of earthing in the sense that we bring attention into the body immediate experience, where it is, what does it feel like to be where it is in that moment. That's a kind of grounding and earthing. So anytime we ask, what does it feel like to be here and now? What is this like to be me? And then that brings us back to what Ken was saying about the sense of an I as being so relaxed that that just arises as a thought in the direct experience, which is non-conceptual. So the non-conceptual depth the vastness, the depth of that is an ongoing, never coming to any conclusion about anything. All concepts can come and go, but you don't have to choose one concept over another. And I'm not disparaging earthing because I think it's very much what's going on. So to me, it's the direct experience of what it means to place attention wherever you are. If it's in the middle of anxiety, to place attention there. What is it that is anxious? Now that's an inquiry, otherwise known as vipassana, a looking into what is actually here now. And it only takes a moment to look directly, which for me is to feel directly. And as you're looking and inquiring, without grasping for a concept, you will be grounded in the immediate direct experience of awareness and the movement of energy, the movement of sensation, the movement of thought in the open, spacious presence of awareness itself. And so then you could host all kinds of ideas, concepts. And like you, I like the idea of earthing. When I left New York City in 1983, even before then, I was totally connected. I used to spend most of my time in Central Park when I wasn't in my house, my apartment, because the 5 elements were such a powerful connection to my life. I connected with the sun and the space and the moisture in the air and the ground beneath my feet. And I started to experience how these outer elements and inner elements of my emotions were actually had a lot in common. So I just want to say thank you for bringing up earthing. And I invite you to continue with your exploration of your immediate experience and to continue to host all kinds of ideas about everything. Wonderful. Thank you, Doug. Go ahead, Kathleen.
Hi, Andrea. Long time since I've seen you.
Wonderful to see you, dear.
You too. I've been having an experience lately, which I just kind of wanted some feedback from you.
Okay.
Of non-clinging. And what happens for me when I become aware of something, I have this sense of not clinging to any thoughts, any feelings, any emotions. And when I do that, I feel like I'm in the moment, like I've never been in the moment before. And I've been practicing meditation since the 86, different kinds of meditation. And I did your long Buddhist class that was so amazing. And I feel like something has happened to me because I have joyful experiences, but I don't get high on them, or I have some sad things happening, people passing or whatever. But I'm like in this medium place, and I'm like awed at myself. I'm like, what has happened to me? I just I don't know. I've never had this experience before.
I think that is wonderful. And I think I think you are describing one aspect of the fruit of your practice.
Feels like it.
And you could name it from, if you wanted to take what you just described directly in your experience, now you could take that, what you just shared, and place it in the structure of teachings, and it would be the quality of what is called evenness or equanimity with
Yeah, equanimity.
whatever is happening. And that is the fruit of practice. Why? Because you're remaining aware of awareness, and you keep finding openness and spaciousness in your presence.
It's like my mind says, does it really matter? No.
So
It's
you
all
keep
the
questioning.
same.
You keep questioning
Yeah.
your assumption. So your habits. So no, this is really important, because usually somebody who's ordinary, and I use the word ordinary in juxtaposition to being a practitioner. If you're a practitioner, our number one job is to keep inquiring. What is happening in this moment?
Oh, okay.
What is happening when the flow of awareness and openness and evenness and equanimity is broken by some kind of attachment or some kind of aversion or some kind of strong emotion, and you lose that sense of flow and evenness. If you keep looking at that and saying, what is happening now? And you look directly at that, what is that? And you're not looking for an idea, but you're just, what? It will open into spaciousness again, and the flow will continue on. You won't get stuck. So your evenness is an ongoing quality that keeps developing.
Blooming.
It's blooming, beautiful word. It's a capacity. It's a fullness. It's a fullness, because you don't get caught up in habit patterns and addictive activity of the thinking mind. But it has to be endless. It doesn't mean that it stops. Your inquiry must go on if you will become the infinite being that you are. Right?
Right.
It doesn't mean anything has ended or your practice, you don't need to practice anymore. It just means that you're having ongoing revelations.
Well, I was like going, am I depressed? Which I have been before, where I just didn't have any feelings about anything. And it's like, no, this is different. This is different.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Kathleen, wonderful.
Thank you.
And just stay, how would you say? Stay willing. When we talk about dreams, like a lot of times, unless you pay attention to something, your dreams will stop. Or when you start paying attention to moment by moment experiences, the qualities of openness and freedom versus the quality of getting all engaged and entangled in something you're angry about. Now, these days, I can't help but bring this up, and I will. It's impossible not to be angry and enraged if we create an object or a person to be angry with. Right? Then, right, more than any other time in the history of my life, my practice is so threatened by my capacity to get lost in experiencing emotions related to an object or a person versus turning attention inward and asking the question, what is angry? What is sad? What is afraid? And going right to that immediate experience and allowing space to open there, which gives us potential to be more responsive and be of benefit to others in this very difficult time.
Boy, I can relate to that. I have a son in Indiana who keeps sending me these videos.
Yes.
Yeah, President, he's very supportive. Yeah, and I've asked him not to send them to me. And then I just said, he's just doing what he wants.
Him.
Yeah,
he's just doing him.
And I love him anyway.
Exactly.
In spite of.
So his him and your you are just occurrences in the space of infinite possibilities, right? So the important thing is, and Kathleen, you really need to honor this. You need to have appreciation that you are on a spiritual path. And your number one job is to look immediate and directly inward, turn attention in upon it, look at your own experience over and over again. So when you're stuck, you actually can interrupt whatever thought that is that's keeping you stuck and offer it. That's your offering to your practice. So you could be more responsible, meaning you have a capacity to find space and infinite potential to respond, even to your son, whose ideas you completely disagree with. You love him no matter what he's thinking. Why? Because, darling Kathleen, you are learning how to love yourself no matter what you're thinking.
Oh, thank you, Andrea.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is the fruit of practice. Onward, onward. That is why we practice. Beautiful. Thank you, Kathleen. Okay, let's see. Anyone else, please?
Hey, I just wanted to jump in and say something, share something, because it relates both to rocks and relaxation.
Good.
And it's just a practical matter that could be related to practice. So in my and this comes out of training practice that I did related to martial arts. But in my backyard, I have a big pile of river stones, like cobble-sized river stones.
Yep.
And when people come over, I make them lay on top of it or roll over it. And the reason being, and this sort of addresses, what you were asking about, at least about rocks. I don't know so much about earthing, but anxiety and creates tension in the body. And rocks are very hard. And if you lay on them and you're very tense, you will experience various degrees of pain. And so naturally, to find comfort, the body will start to relax, because rocks don't relax. So you have to relax.
Interact. You have to interact with the rock.
So if you're already seeking comfort, seeking relaxation, and you lay on hard rocks or uneven rocks and things like that, the body will start to relax naturally because you're seeking comfort. And if you roll over them, the same thing, your body will start to relax, because if you're stiff and tense, you will knock your bones against the rocks and become, experience more and more pain. The same is true, for example, sometimes I practice walking over these cobblestones or running over them, even with eyes closed, for example. And the reason being is, if your body is not relaxed, all the joints have to be mobile and relaxed. you will lose your balance and fall. And so it sort of teaches the body to be more and more relaxed in just a really practical way. And so
Yes.
I always say it's good practice. One of my teachers used to say the hard floor, like this floor here, the hard floor is a good friend, because if you roll on it and things like that, it will help you to relax. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that.
Especially if you don't have shoes on and you're walking
Yes,
barefoot.
same. Because
And
if you walk, yeah, exactly. Even your feet have to relax, right? Because they have to mold to the different shapes of surfaces and things like that.
so, Matt, you're giving a perfect example of how the five elements universe, space, earth, hard, water, fluid, air, movement, fire, the five elements are always interacting. We have consciousness, like you're saying. We are walking on, when I lay down on the rock, by the way, I use my powers of perception to choose a rock that is fairly flat. Like, I'm not going to choose a rock that has things sticking out of it. So I go to a rock. So consciousness, awareness, intelligence, perception, form, feeling, mental formations, all of those things that are what we are, working together, dancing together. So then I can dance with this rock and I lie back on it. And just like you're saying, the rock can't move. That is not a conscious, it is what it is. And it's in a different time zone than I am, so to speak. So my body could then be flexible and find the beautiful evenness. Where is she? Stella, are you there? Stella, the evenness, equanimity, the interaction with this rock can happen exactly what you're saying, Matt, because we as beings have this infinite potential for interaction with the elements. So that evenness, that equanimity can happen. That's exactly right. That's a beautiful example. Thank you, Matt. And Kathleen, do you see that example of the openness of possibility with your interaction with your son?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's not that anything comes to a conclusion or anything gets solved. It's just interactive. We remain interactive, alive.
Yes.
We don't put up a wall, block everything out because we don't agree with it or don't like it.
Right.
We just keep having hope. Hope in what? Life itself. So thank you, everyone, for your showing up and loving attention to each and every one of us together today. It was really sweet, and I appreciate the opportunity. And Joel is healing, as we all are, more or less. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful spring day. Love. Peace.